Hello, everybody. Good evening. My name is Teacher Ian, and I'm the owner of Right Start Newcomer Services. Welcome to tonight's Learn Canadian English live stream. We've got a great show. It's all about adverbs. So it's going to be a grammar-focused lesson, but we're going to make it fun. And happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're enjoying your lucky St. Patrick's Day. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge that Right Start Newcomer Services conducts business in Chibuktuk, which is how you say Halifax in the Mi'kmaq language. This city is part of the ancestral unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Okay, so who's out there? Say hello, introduce yourself in the comment section. And if you're new, we want to welcome you. We want to say hi, and we'll give you a nice big round of applause too. Okay, so we've got Christian. Hey, Christian, my friend, how are you doing? Good to see you, my friend. I hope you're not working too hard. Pilar is here. Hey, Pilar, welcome back. You as well. I know you're a hard worker too. So take it easy, especially on St. Patrick's Day. Maybe even have a nice beverage to enjoy tonight's live stream. Anyway, hi, Pilar, and hey, Beatrice. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Hello to everybody. Awesome. So welcome back, Beatrice. Good to see you. And hello, Emily. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome back. I remember you from last time. All right. So if anybody else is out there, say hi. Tell me. Oh, Lorraine's here. Hey, Lorraine. Good afternoon. Yeah, good afternoon. It seems like afternoon here in Halifax. It's 6:30, but it's light. It's wonderful since the time changed on Sunday. It's been amazing. And hey, Checo Kike is back. Hey, how are you, Checo Kike? Good evening. I hope you're enjoying your evening. All right. So it seems like we have a lot of people. And if you're watching the recording, that's cool. Welcome. And you can always introduce yourself in the comments section of YouTube or Facebook or whatever. And I'll say hi then. All right, I missed Monday, didn't know there was a time change in Halifax. Yeah, so I just learned during the last one on Monday that the time doesn't change everywhere. Christian was saying in South America it doesn't change. Sorry about that, I should have made a post about that. But my apologies, you're here now. So I hope you enjoyed tonight's live stream. Okay, glad to be here, made it on time. Awesome. So, I mean, part of learning English is just showing up to class each time at the right time. And that's a big effort. And you're really going to notice a big difference too. Okay. Thank you, Checo Kike. Hey, Fanny's back. Hi, Ian. Good to see you. Good to see you too. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Are you celebrating? Anybody? Is St. Patrick's Day something that you usually celebrate? And if so, how do people celebrate St. Patrick's Day? And if you're not sure, maybe we can chat about it a little bit before we get into tonight's lesson. I am part Irish. I believe half Irish. My mother's side is Irish. So her family name is Donnelly. And that's a very Irish name. So I think several generations back, some of maybe my great-great-grandparents moved to Canada. Actually, one of my great-grandparents was a gardener, very famous gardener, and he's responsible for planting the public gardens in Halifax. So if you've seen that, that was my great-great-grandfather who designed and built that park, which is pretty cool. Okay, anyway, good to see you, Fanny. Good to see you, everybody. So are you celebrating St. Patrick's Day? How do people usually celebrate St. Patrick's Day? And if nobody knows, we can just move on to tonight's lesson. Okay, Checo Kike, we don't celebrate this day in Mexico. Okay, so not a lot of Irish influence in Mexico, so probably not a lot of Irish people have moved to Mexico over the last, I don't know, 600, 700 years. So probably that's why. Okay, thank you, Checo Kike. It's not common to celebrate St. Patrick's around here, but a lot of schools have some sort of celebrations. Okay, yeah, I know they like to introduce kids to different celebrations and stuff, so that's really cool. Thank you, Beatrice. Here in Canada, looks like it's a big day for some people, right? I mean, some people who are Irish or some people just like to celebrate. People like to go to bars, restaurants, and have a good time. That's for sure. And they even have green beer. So if you go to a bar on St. Patrick's Day in Canada, chances are they will put green dye in the beer and you can have green beer for today. We don't celebrate this day in Colombia either. That's cool. So when you guys are all in Halifax, we'll have to have a celebration with all of us. Okay, and I think she's just tagging somebody. That's very cool, but welcome, Estella. Welcome to the live stream, and we're so glad you're here. Okay, let's get into tonight's fun, useful, interesting, amazing lesson about adverbs. Okay, so tonight we have 4 things we're going to do. We're going to start with our discussion. We're going to learn about adverbs, so what they are, what are some of the common ones, and what are the ways that they're used in English. Then we're going to do spelling. So I know we like to do spelling here with our Learn Canadian English live stream. So we're going to do spelling practice, and then we're going to have a short 5-question quiz about adverbs. So you will get a lot of chance to practice writing using adverbs as we go. And Fanny says we don't celebrate. That's too bad. But you can, right? Anybody can celebrate St. Patrick's Day. You don't have to be Irish or Canadian or whatever. It's just a fun day. All righty. I have a really cool St. Patrick's Day hat, but I can't wear it with the green screen because it's green and it would look like I have half a head and you guys wouldn't want to see that. Maybe I'll get it later. All right, so here is our discussion. 4 discussion questions. Number 1, what are some adverbs? So can you think of some adverbs? Write them in the chat. And when you answer these questions, put the number, right? So just say I'm answering number 3, put 3, and then write your answer. Okay, so what are some adverbs? What do adverbs do? And if you need to Google it, that's okay. Number 3, why are adverbs important? And number 4, I give you a sentence and you have to find the adverbs. So in that sentence, how many adverbs are there and what are they? Yesterday, she quickly wrote an email and then she walked carefully on the icy roads to work. All right, so I'd love to hear your answers. No rush, take your time. I think sometimes adverbs are forgotten about or not really paid a lot of attention to, but once we talk about it, you'll see that they're used a lot, all the time, and they are important. Okay, according to Google, thank you, Lorraine, at least you're honest about it, right? You don't say, oh, I knew this already. You said, according to Google, adverbs tell us how, when, where, to what extent, and why. So that's a great explanation because it answers those questions. Who, what, when, where, why, how. So basically it describes all of those things and it can do all of those things in a sentence. So that is great. Kindly, smoothly, softly. Very good. So those are all great examples of adverbs. And you'll notice that most adverbs do end in ly. So as Christian pointed out, kindly, smoothly, softly, they're all ending in ly. So that's a good way to identify most adverbs, but not all adverbs. Okay, thank you, Christian. That's awesome. Beatrice, words that help to modify a verb. They are very important. Yeah, I think they're important. So tonight we're really going to learn why they're important, how to use them. It's going to be great. Thank you, Beatrice. They modify verbs. So that would be answer number 2, right? They modify verbs. They definitely do. So when we say modify, we mean like they change it, right? They change the meaning of verbs. Maybe we say how it changes it, when, even why or how. Okay, so modifies verbs. That's great. Thank you, Christian. Jorge, welcome, Jorge. They give us more details about the situation. Exactly. And like Lorraine said, they say who, what, when, where, why, how. Maybe not who, but all of those other ones. Okay, very good, Jorge. Thank you and welcome to the class. Long story short, for me, they are expressions to relate and connect sentences. Yes. So that's another good one. They connect sentences as well. So they answer all those questions, but they can also connect sentences and they relate. I'm not sure exactly what you mean about relate, but definitely they connect sentences. Quickly, carefully. That's perfect. So that's in the final sentence. Beatrice has gotten to number 4. Quickly, carefully, great. They say place, time, circumstance. Okay, that makes sense. I get that. That's great. Checo Kike. Definitely, they do all those things. So let's just go on to number 4. While Beatrice mentions it, she mentioned 2 adverbs, quickly and carefully. And I agree, they are both adverbs, but maybe there's more. Maybe there's more. All right, Christian, they make emphasis, I'm going to help you spell that in a second, on how the actions are carried out. Yeah, they show how things are done. Exactly. And they emphasize. Maybe that's the word we should use. Emphasize. Or emphasis. All right, so here's the spelling, Christian. They either emphasize something or they give emphasis to something. Okay, but very good. I understood. Just the spelling was a little off. Good guess, Estella. So very good guess, icy. But no, icy is an adjective, right? Adjectives describe nouns. And in this sentence, it says icy roads. So roads is a noun. Icy modifies the noun. So icy is an adjective. But very good guess. Yes, Beatrice got it. So the other adverb was yesterday. Remember what Lorraine said? Let's go back to Lorraine's definition. Adverbs tell us how, when, right? Yesterday is when. Okay, where? Sort of, right? Like roads. Roads is a noun. It's not an adjective, or sorry, an adverb. So definitely it tells us when. So yesterday is, and Checo Kiga got it too. Yesterday, quickly. Then, oh, I missed then. Then as well. So good catch, Checo Kike. I forgot about that one. Then is also an adverb. So actually we have 4 adverbs. Yesterday, quickly, carefully, and then. Wow, amazing. So you can see that even in this pretty short sentence, 4 adverbs. And I didn't have to try that hard. So they're important. They're all over the place. We should know what they are. We should know how to use them. For sure. Okay, great job, you guys. Let's move on. Let's go on to our next activity. This is going to be a little bit long. I think there are about 6 slides, 6 or 7, but you will get to practice each one. So I want to hear sentences from you guys using the adverbs we talk about. All right. So we said this already. Adverbs are parts of speech that modify verbs. Christian said that. Adjectives. Okay, they can modify an adjective. For example, I could say this. There was a really beautiful sunset. Really is an adverb that modifies the adjective beautiful. Did you catch that? Really is an adverb that modifies the adjective beautiful. Okay, so they do modify adjectives. They modify clauses, which are either sentences or parts of sentences. Like in the sentence, in the last activity we did, yesterday. So yesterday modifies the sentence and says when it happened. Okay, and they also modify other adverbs. That's crazy. So for example, you could say, I walked extremely slowly to the store. Extremely is modifying slowly, and they're both adverbs. So they do a lot. Let's leave it at that. They provide information about when or how things happen. We talked about that. Many adverbs end in ly, but not all of them do. We talked about that. And there are 6 main types of adverbs. And let's go through each one. Number 1, conjunctive adverbs. These are connectors. Words like however, therefore, instead, meanwhile. For example, Jeremy meant to go to work. Instead, he stayed home and drank beer. So instead is connecting those 2 sentences that are about the same thing. All right, now it's your turn. So use one of these words, make a sentence. Actually, you're going to make 2 short sentences and join them with a conjunctive adverb. So choose one of them, however, therefore, instead, or meanwhile. Write it in the chat. We'll check your sentences and then go to the second type. Lots of writing practice tonight. And if you don't want to, that's okay. As long as we have a few people who are willing to write, I think it's useful that you either get to write yourself or you get to help correct somebody else's writing. They're both useful. Depends what you want to focus on tonight. I know some students love to write. Some students like to hang back, just watch. It's all good. All right. So we have Beatrice's example. I wanted to cook cochinita pibil. That sounds delicious. Instead, I ended up not cooking at all. Perfect, right? So you have all the elements there, Beatrice. I wanted to cook cochinita pibil. I would put a period there. So after the food that you're cooking, put a period. New sentence. Instead, I ended up not cooking at all. And then period at the end. So really it's two sentences, and you're using instead at the beginning of the second sentence. Other than that, spelling's great, everything's great. Okay, awesome. Chekokike, I was planning for some ski time this weekend. However, weather won't be that good anymore. Exactly. So again, great sentence. You have all of the spelling good, everything's great, but it should be two sentences, right? I was planning for some ski time this weekend, period. However, comma, weather won't be that good anymore. And you might say the weather. So THE, the weather. Other than that, that's perfect. Awesome. Thank you, Cheko Kike. Great sentence. Yelda, I have to read some manuscript. Again, period. Capital T. Therefore, comma, I just listen to the lesson today. Maybe we have to say I am just listening to the lesson. I have to read some manuscript, period. Therefore, comma, I will just listen to the lesson today. Perfect. Thank you, Yelda. Actually, you're typing, so get back to work on your manuscript. All right. Lorraine, I like dogs. However, I am allergic. Awesome. Great sentence. Great example. Period after dogs. New sentence. However, comma. Awesome. I like the coffee all day. However, I used to drink my coffee just in the morning. Okay, so I get it, Fanny. Good sentence. Same thing. Let's say either I like coffee or I like to drink coffee all day. Period. However, comma, I used. So used to is past. So we have to put a D. Used to drink coffee just in the morning. And then that makes sense. Good, you remembered your final period. So that's great, Fanny. Thank you. Christian says, I started to practice electric guitar as a hobby. Period. So see how Christian did it? Period, new sentence, comma. Instead, I became strongly obsessed with it. So used another adverb, strongly. That's great. Only problem, Christian, is spelling of hobby. So hobby, H-O-B-B-Y. So other than that, perfect sentence, great punctuation as well. All right, Zineb. Hey, Zineb, how are you? Hi, I wanted to start the class on time. However, I had something else to do. Perfect. It's real. It's relevant. Awesome sentence, Zineb. Great correction, Ian. Glad to learn that. No problem, right? That's why we come here, to get feedback from an English teacher. So you're very welcome. I was looking for my dog. Meanwhile, just need that comma. Meanwhile, he was deeply sleeping under my bed. Perfect. Period at the end. And you're there, Beatrice. Awesome. Let's move on, or else we're going to run out of time. Number 2, this is one that we know. How often? So these are adverbs of frequency. Frequency means how often something happens. For example, usually, never, always, sometimes, constantly. Constantly means all the time. Like maybe every second, every minute, every day, maybe more than once a day, but all the time. Daily, etc. For example, now this one you can use in the middle of a sentence. They constantly fight over the stupidest things. So they always fight. They constantly fight over the stupidest things, like children, right? Children always fight over, oh, that's my toy. No, that's my toy. Oh, I get to play video games first. No, I do. So they constantly fight over the stupidest things. Notice with this one you can put in different places. So you could say they constantly fight. You could say they fight constantly over the stupidest things. Probably sounds weird to say constantly they fight over the stupidest things, but with some words it's okay to put it at the very beginning of the sentence. So it's a little bit flexible. Adverbs you can move around a bit more than, say, adjectives, conjunctions, things like that. Okay, so I want you to practice. If you want, use one of these. So either usually, never, always, sometimes, constantly, daily, or you could say like yearly, annually, something like that. So write your sentence, we'll correct it, and then we'll go on to the next one if you don't have any questions. All right, Yelda, I usually want to walk on the pedestrian in summer and bless room flower. All right, I get the first part. So, oh, flower blossoms? Maybe you mean flower blossoms. So let's start with the beginning. I usually want to walk, one L, and walk on the pedestrian. So pedestrian is a person who is crossing the road. So you probably don't want to walk on a pedestrian. Wouldn't be very nice to walk on somebody. Maybe you mean sidewalk, boardwalk. Like on the waterfront, you could call that a boardwalk. So let's say boardwalk. I usually want to walk on the boardwalk in summer and look at the flower blossoms. That's my guess. Tell me if you think that's right. Okay, I daily drink coffee in the early morning. Great, but daily's tricky. So either we put daily at the beginning or at the end of the sentence. So you could say, daily, I drink coffee in the early morning. You could say, I drink coffee daily in the early morning, or I drink coffee in the early morning daily. So daily we could put in a few places. I just wouldn't say I daily drink coffee. It just doesn't sound as good to me. Okay, great. Thank you, Yelda. That was awesome. Beatrice, you're using the expression of the day. I love that. I have never been as drunk as a skunk or drunk as a skunk. Good for you. That's a good way to live, actually. Yeah, good for you. Thank you for using our expression of the day. I wake up late in the mornings on a daily basis. Perfect sentence, Christian. I love it. That's great. No mistakes. And you use daily perfectly. Great. So second use of adverbs is adverbs of frequency. Third is time. So adverbs of time. Today, yesterday, tomorrow, eventually. What's eventually? That's a good word. Maybe we don't know exactly what it means. But also early, yet. Can you use yet properly? Recently. But what does eventually mean? Here's an example. I'll buy a new car eventually, but not yet. I like that word, eventually. And whenever you want, you can use one of these words in a sentence, and we'll get to that part. Okay, Yelda, I think you know, right? Meaning is time by time. So like at some time in the future. So I think that's what you mean, time by time. So at some time in the future. Eventually, I will die, right? Hopefully not today or tomorrow, but someday, right? Eventually, you will speak perfect English. Eventually, you will be rich. In time, yeah, so that's exactly right, in time. Thank you, Yelda. Thank you, Beatrice. How about a sentence? Can you use one of these in a sentence? Okay. Even if you don't type it, it's good to say it, right? You can just say it out loud. That shows you're thinking with English, right? You're using English in your head to formulate a sentence. If you're not comfortable typing it, fine, right? Say it out loud. If you're not comfortable saying it, write it on a piece of paper. But that's how language processing works. You have to think in the language. Even if you don't say it, it still helps. Okay, great. So here's Beatrice's sentence. We haven't bought I know you mean our tickets to Vancouver yet. So good usage of yet. And we use yet in negative sentences. So we haven't bought our tickets to Vancouver yet. Period at the end, Beatrice, and that's a great sentence. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Beatrice. Christian, today is a rainy day here in Halifax. So perfect, today, right? I'm just thinking that in that case, today could be a noun, right? You know in English how different words can be different parts of speech. Just the way you use it, like today is, I think it's a noun in that case. But perfect sentence. I'll give you full marks anyway, Christian. All right, let's go on to number 4. Adverbs of manner. So this is how somebody does something. For example, loudly, nicely, wisely, peacefully, angrily, slowly. For example, the driver shouted angrily at the man who cut her off. So the driver shouted angrily. How did she shout? She shouted angrily, in an angry way. All right, so use one of those words. You can think of another one. Most of these will end in ly. All right, great. And Pilar has a sentence for the last one, I believe. So I start to watch Canadian news recently. Great use of recently. But let's just change to the past. So I started, or I have started to watch Canadian news. And that's perfect. Great job, Pilar. All right. You get bonus points if you make me laugh with your sentence. So funny sentences get 25 points. But no bad words. Okay, you made me laugh. Bonus points for Beatrice. Drink wisely tonight. That's a sentence, right? So this is an instruction. You don't need a subject when you give instructions. So if you were to capitalize drink, put a period at the end, that's a perfect sentence. Thank you, Beatrice. You made me laugh. My mom told me nicely to eat vegetables. Okay, that kind of made me laugh too. So you get extra points, Yelda. That's great. Just S, vegetables, right? More than one vegetables. Or you could say a vegetable and then your period at the end, and great sentence too. Okay, great. So if you're still writing this one, put it in there. We're going to move on to number 5. Adverbs of degree. So how much, right? So words like very, really, too, like too much or too many. Hardly. Hardly is a word that is misused a lot, right? Hardly means not much, right? Like hardly at all is a very little amount. Okay, somewhat, sort of, right? Totally, little, or most. So they gave us too little food at the restaurant, and we were somewhat annoyed. So this one uses a couple. So it uses too little food. Somewhat annoyed is a little bit angry or a little bit annoyed. Okay, Christian, you made me laugh too. The teacher drinks coffee from his NASA mug. NASA cool mug. Put cool before NASA. So drinks coffee from his cool NASA mug slowly and smoothly. Wow, you make me feel like a movie star. Thank you. Great sentence. So just put cool before NASA and then you got it, Christian. All right, so how about this one? This is a little bit tricky, but we'll see how you do. I mean, very is really easy, really, but can you use one of the other ones? I hardly see your car because of snowbank. Almost perfect, Yelda. So great sentence. I hardly see your car because of the snowbank. Period at the end, and then that's a perfect sentence. So good sentence. I like it. If you're not here in Canada, you might not know what a snowbank is. A snowbank is a pile of snow that we get in winter because they clean the snow off the roads and the trucks push all the snow off to the side and make these big snowbanks. All right, great sentence, Yelda. Very Canadian. All right, how about this one? Anybody else want to try this one? And then we'll move on to the last type of adverb. See, adverbs are pretty fun. We're having fun, right? I was confused with the adverbs, but somewhat, maybe somehow. I think somehow is also an adverb. Somehow I managed to write a funny sentence, and that would be perfect. So change somewhat to somehow. I'll just write that here. Somehow. Yeah, you got it. So you're laughing. Okay, great. Awesome. So great job, Beatrice. Great sentence. Last one, and then we'll move on to our spelling practice. Number 6 is adverbs of place. So this describes where. Here, there, somewhere, inside, out or outside, away, left, north. All of those are adverbs describing where as in location. So, for example, just turn left at the lights and you'll be right there. Right there. So, just turn left. So, left is an adverb. Right there is an adverb, but it's not used as a direction in that case. Maybe it is location, right there. Yeah, it's modifying there. It's complicated. Okay, so whenever you're ready, write your sentence for adverb of place. If you're just tuning in, we're practicing our writing. You can use one of these words in a sentence. here, there, somewhere, inside out, write it in the chat and we'll check it for you. Perfect. I left one of the mugs on the left shelf. Almost perfect, Yelda. So you could say it a little bit differently. And you could say, I bought one of the mugs that was left on the left shelf. So I see you're trying to use left two ways. So let's say I bought one of the mugs that was left on the left shelf. And then that would be perfect. Okay, great job, Yelda. Let's stay away from. Okay, you have to use from in this case, Beatrice. Let's stay away from this heavy traffic. Perfect, except traffic has two Fs. So let's stay away from this heavy traffic. Perfect. Today is a hot day here. Perfect. So here, easy, simple, great sentence, Pilar. I left my right headphone buds somewhere in the north left corner of the mall. Oh, no, that's the worst. So you use left as a verb. So that's a verb. That one doesn't count. Right, that counts. Although maybe that's an adjective. I think maybe it's an adjective. My right headphone. So which one is it? It's my right one. Somewhere. Okay, somewhere is an adverb. North left corner. So that's an adverb of the mall. Okay, perfect job, Christian. No mistakes. Awesome. And you're playing with language, which I like to see, right? When you play with language, it really shows that you have gotten beyond like an intermediate level, right? So you're making jokes with language, you're playing with it. That's a great way to learn, right? Always have fun when you're learning English. Great. Okay. Hey, Maria, you never know what kind of things I can find inside my bag. So using inside perfectly. That's a great sentence, Maria. There's nothing to correct. Awesome. Welcome to the live stream. That's a perfect sentence. All right. So those are all the 6 types. Let's go very, very quickly review them before we move on to our next activity. Adverbs can join. Conjunctive adverbs, like however. Adverbs can say how often. Adverbs of frequency. So usually, sometimes, never. Adverbs can tell the time when something happens. Today, yesterday, tomorrow, eventually. Adverbs describe how. So how does someone act? They're shouting loudly, nicely, wisely, peacefully. Adverbs say how much, right? Totally, somewhat, little, lot. And adverbs say where. So the place or location. Somewhere, here, there. That's adverbs, right? And those are all the different types of adverbs that there are. So if you know how to use them in those situations, congratulations, you know how to use adverbs. All right, spelling practice time. I'm going to read 10 common adverbs. So common ones, I'm trying to challenge you a little bit, but I want you to write it in the chat. Let's do 5. So there's 10 altogether. Let's do it in groups of 5. Write the answers for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you can put it in the chat and submit it. All right, so take a pencil or just type it in the chat box, but don't send it until we go through all 5. Listen and write. Here we go. Number 1, meanwhile. Meanwhile. We are learning English. Meanwhile, my cat is sleeping on the bed. Number 2, unfortunately. Unfortunately, We only have 1 hour to spend together tonight. Yelda, that's great. If you want to just save them until we have all 5 and then send them together, that would be perfect. But you can send them one at a time if you want. Okay, number 2 was unfortunately. Unfortunately, this class will end. Number 3, eventually. Eventually. We saw this one before. Eventually, you will speak English perfectly. Number 4, occasionally. Ooh, that's a hard one. For occasionally. I go to restaurants occasionally with my wife. And last one, number 5, immediately. I need these reports immediately. All right, write them in the chat, send them. I'll read them again one more time. Meanwhile, unfortunately, eventually, occasionally, and immediately. All right, let's see how you did. Great. So I see some answers coming in. Yelda, I see yours. Great. There's a few corrections we could make, but I see you got 2 correct. Beatrice, very good. I see you have 4 correct. And Lorraine, I see you have 4 correct as well. So I'll show you the answers. There you go. Meanwhile, you can check your own. Unfortunately, eventually, occasionally, immediately. So double M for immediately. Right? So I see Beatrice and Lorraine, you wrote N instead of M. But other than that, very good. Let's check Zineb's. Meanwhile, unfortunately, eventually, occasionally, immediately. Perfect. So 5 out of 5, Zineb. That's great. Awesome job. 5 more words. So let's continue our spelling practice. Number 6, mysteriously. Ooh, good word. Mysteriously. The man walked mysteriously down the road. Number 7, seriously. Seriously, is this the best class that you can get? So, number 7, seriously. Number 8, gradually. Gradually. Gradually means slowly or little bit over time. Gradually. Number 9, seldom. Seldom. Seldom means not often or not very much. We seldom drink tea at lunchtime. I can't read my writing. One sec. So embarrassing. Okay, I get it. Number 10 is happily. We walked happily through the street. All right, I'll read those again. Starting from 6, mysteriously, seriously, gradually, seldom, happily. All right, put them in. I see some people are plugging them in, so that's great. Mystery, seriously, gradually, seldom, happily. I would give you 2 points for those yelled at. So the first one, mysteriously. But 2 out of 5, that's not bad. Mysteriously, seriously, gradually, seldom, happily. Perfect score. Beatrice, great spelling. So 5 out of 5, you got it. Mysteriously, seriously, gradually, seldom, happily. Great job, Jorge. You're just missing the first one, mysteriously. Mysteriously, seriously, gradually, seldom, happily. Perfect, Christian. So here you go. These are 10 very common adverbs that we use a lot, and I would recommend that you use them, memorize them, practice them, because they show a lot of the different ways that adverbs are used. Zineb, let's check yours. Mysteriously, seriously, gradually, seldom, happily. I'll give you 4 points. The only one was gradually. Gradually. Maybe it's a new word, but it's a great word to know. And it means gradually things change over time. Like gradually I got old and I started to get gray in my beard, right? It didn't happen all in one day, happened over a long time. All right, awesome. You guys are doing amazing. Let's move on. One last thing. We only have 8 minutes left, so this is perfect timing. We have a 5-question quiz, and then we're done for the night. Actually, we're done for the week because we won't be back until on Monday. Seldom. Yeah, sure. Beatrice asks me for an example with seldom. So again, seldom means not often. So you could say, I seldom go to the bar with my friends because of COVID, right? I seldom go to the movies because, who goes to movie theaters these days, right? We have Netflix. So seldom means not often. I seldom go. I seldom go. Yeah, usually we would use it before the verb, right? We seldom get together as a big group, right? So seldom, not often, put it right before the verb. Hope that helps, Beatrice. Let's do our quick little quiz and then we're done. You guys can go have a good night. Great. I didn't know that one. Thank you. Perfect. Great. So, that's great. If you can learn a few new words from these lessons, if you can practice a bit, get a few corrections, that's going to help a lot. I seldom do exercise lately. That's perfect, right? That's a good example. Christian's so busy, he doesn't exercise much. Perfect. Except period. You forgot your period. But other than that, that's fine. Let's do our quiz. So 5 questions, super easy. See how well you understand adverbs. Number 1, where can't the adverb slowly go in the sentence? All right, so here you have to choose A, B, C, or D. Where can't slowly go in that sentence? So can you say, slowly they drove to the movie theater? Can you say they slowly drove? Can you say they drove slowly? Or D, they drove too slowly the movie theater? So just put A, B, C, D, and then we'll move on to the next one. Okay, Lorraine says C. So this is where it cannot go. Jorge says D. Beatrice says A, C, and D. Okay. Where they can't slowly drove to the movie theater. So I think you're saying, I'm not sure. So I'm not sure which letter you mean. B, A, sorry, I got confused. I know it was a confusing question, and I'm reading it and I'm saying, why did I say it that way? The correct answer is D, right? You can't say they drove too slowly the movie theater. You can say slowly they drove. You can say they slowly drove, or you could say they drove slowly. But you can't say they drove too slowly the movie theater. Bad question. All right. Bad teacher. My fault. It was confusing. All right. This one is easier. So number 2, choose the correct word. I know them very good, well, better, best. This one should be easy. Beatrice says B. Pilar says B. Zineb says B. Well. Okay, that's easy. But a lot of people get confused. So well is the adverb form of good, right? I know them very well. Some people say I know them really good or very good. It's a mistake, but a lot of people say it. Okay, great job, Jorge. Everybody got that one. That was great. How about this one? He is A, B, or C, worried about the cost of airplane tickets. This one seems easy, but okay, we see some answers. So you're saying B, Christian. Also B, B, me, by the way, ha ha ha. All right, so a lot of people say B, but B is correct. Yes, B is correct. Quite is different from quiet. And C, quietly, that's not even a word. So A is a word, quiet, as in shh, quiet. Santa Claus is listening. B is quite. Quite means like very or really. So he is quite worried. He's not very worried, but a little bit less than very. So B is the correct answer. A lot of students spell quite wrong. So make sure you know how to spell quite. This is also a challenging one. How many adverbs does the sentence have? Justin Trudeau looks rather handsome, and he talks very slowly and carefully. So just put A, there's 1 adverb, B, 2, 3, there's C, so C, there's 3 adverbs, or D, there's 4 adverbs. Okay, so I see some answers. Yelda says D, Zineb says D, Beatrice says D. Christian says 4 or D. Pilar says 3. Jorge says 3. I think everybody's answered. Correct answer is D. So there are 4, right? So the first one is rather handsome. It's like quite, right? Quite handsome, rather handsome, very, slowly, carefully. Right? So there are 4. Rather, very, slowly, carefully. Not all adverbs end in ly. Great. So answer is D. 4. Last one. Same thing. How many adverbs does this sentence have? On St. Patrick's Day, Canadians go to bars, drink way too much green beer, and stumble home drunkenly. Stumble is like you can't walk very well. All right. So A1, adverb 2, 3, or 4. Okay. Pilar, I think yes. I think you're talking about the last one, or are you talking about this one? C, so 3. Yelda says D, 4. Great. Jorge says 3. Lorraine says C, so also 3. Christian says 3. One more second. Anybody else want to answer? Okay. Zineb says B. Correct answer, I think, is 4. So D is correct again. Let's find them. This one's a little bit tricky. So way too much. Way is an adverb. Too is an adverb. Much is an adverb. So way too much green beer. So all 3 of those are adverbs. And then the last one is drunkenly. So in a drunk way. So way too much drunkenly. So 4, correct answer is D. Congratulations if you got all of those correct. Some of them were a little bit tricky. Some of them were rather easy. But I think you learned a lot. I think you learned a lot about adverbs and you got lots of good practice. Do you have any questions about any of the new words, anything about adverbs before we finish for tonight's lesson? Maybe sometimes what it's good to do is say, what did you learn in tonight's lesson? Or what did you enjoy getting practice with? So I want to hear from you. Did you learn anything? Did you get any good practice tonight? Put it in the chat. I'd love to hear it. I taught way as one and too much as another one. Okay, so you counted too much as one. I guess you could use it as like a set adverb phrase. So if I had said adverb phrases, I think you'd be right, Christian. So no problem. I mean, who cares, right? In the real world, you don't have to count how many adverbs a sentence has. Like, who cares, right? It's just for a class. It's to bring attention to adverbs for you guys. So you count adverbs whatever way you want to count adverbs. Okay, great. I'm always scared with grammar lessons, but I had a blast. Ooh, good language. And I practiced a lot. Thank you. So good to hear, Beatrice. Grammar is not scary. Grammar is just, it's language, right? And as long as you're not worried about learning the language, then grammar is just something that you pick up as you learn the language. Okay, thank you for that, Beatrice. I like that. I really learned a lot today. Thank you. You're very welcome, Zineb. Great attitude. Thank you for coming back for all of our lessons. Okay, adverb phrases. Good teacher. Got it. All right, so we learned something. We had some fun. I want to thank you guys for coming to tonight's lesson. We'll be back next week. So Monday night, I'll see you then. In the meantime, check out our website, send me an email, or buy me a coffee. Have a very Sorry, that was my mouse. Which is broken. Oh man, I broke my mouse. Oh, no, it's working. Sort of. Okay, yeah, mouse is working. Whew. Just saved myself $15 from Amazon. Okay, happy day, right? So we do something happily, Yelda. Like we learn English happily. We walk happily. So have a happy day, Happy. You would say like, let's go happily to the store. And that would be happily. But anyway, great job, great practice. You're very welcome, Christian. I'm glad you learned a lot and reinforced your English knowledge. That's the idea. See you guys next time. Thank you so much. And I'm glad you enjoyed the lesson. Bye, guys.